A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to listen to Jesus. But the Pharisees and scribes began to complain, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So to them Jesus addressed this parable. A man had 2 sons, and the younger son said to his father, "Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me." So the father divided the property between them. A few days later, the younger son collected all his belongings and set off to a distant country, where he squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. When he had freely spent everything, a severe famine struck in that country, and he found himself in dire need. So he hired himself out to one of the local citizens, who sent him to his farm to tend the swine. And he longed to eat his fill of the pods on which the swine fed, but nobody gave him any. Coming to his senses, he thought, "How many of my father's hired workers have more than enough to eat? But here am I, dying from hunger. I shall get up and go to my father, and I shall say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers.'" So he got up and went back to his father. While he was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son." But his father ordered his servants, "Quickly bring the finest robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Take the fatted calf and slaughter it. Then let us celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead and has come back to life again. He was lost and has been found." Then the celebration began. Now the older son had been out in the field, and on his way back, as he neared the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked him what this might mean. The servant said to him, "Your brother has returned, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." He became angry, and when he refused to enter the house, his father came out and pleaded with him. He said to his father in reply, "Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders, but you never even gave me a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son returns, who swallowed up your property with prostitutes, for him you slaughter the fattened calf." The father said to him, "My son, you are here with me always. Everything I have is yours. But now we must celebrate and rejoice, because your brother was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found." gospel of the Lord. This is a long story, so hopefully it will get a short homily. My main point in the homily will be this story is, even though it's so long, is incomplete. It's unfinished. Why is it unfinished? Because it's up to you to finish it. And I'd like to suggest that you take a little bit of time today, maybe rereading the story, and think about the various ways in your own life it might be finished. Put yourself in the place of the Father. What happens to him after this story is complete? Obviously, he's older. He is near death, however long that might be. And the younger son begins by wishing him dead. That's what it meant. Give me my inheritance. And yet we saw how the father responded. How does that story finish for the father? The prodigal son. Imagine yourself in the prodigal son's place. After squandering everything, after being reduced to the depths of misery, you're thinking, maybe my father will let me back as one of his servants. Let me go ask him. I will prostrate myself at his feet, and maybe he'll let me at least come back and earn my living by serving him. And he is absolutely surprised and overwhelmed. But what happens to him after this story, as we have read it, ends? And then there's the older son, who has reason to be upset. And this story ends with his refusal to go in and welcome and take part in the celebration, to welcome back the younger son, even as the father pleads to him. Does he change or doesn't he? If so, how? And what are the implications of that? Put yourself in his place. How would you finish the story if you were the older son? So, the rest of the homily, I'll be silent, and it's up to you.